That still makes me so mad to see that. But that was June 2019. Investigative reporter Andy Ngo was attacked because he was covering an Antifa demonstration in Portland. Now, he was one of their main targets because he was exposing them. And that stayed that way for years. May 2021, he was attacked again while reporting undercover at another Antifa rally.
They pulled off my mask and my goggles and shouted, "That's him, get him, get him." And I ran for my life throughout downtown Portland in the middle of the street. There was no police. The fastest one in the mob caught up to me, tackled me to the ground, and was repeatedly punching me on the back of my head and my face, and I was pleading for mercy.
That attack put Andy in the hospital. For years, he's been trying to hold Rose City Antifa accountable for all of these attacks, even filing a civil suit against them years ago. But just 1 week ago, it all went to trial, and last night we got the verdict. After all of those attacks, all of them caught on video, in 5 hours of deliberations, the jury sided with the thugs. Joining me now is Andy Ngo, alongside his attorney, Eric Sell. Andy, tell us what the defendant's lawyer said after this verdict was reached.
Well, it was actually before. It was in her closing statements. She mentioned that resistance is not peaceful and that she was going to be getting a shirt that declares "I am Antifa," and that she is retiring and will remember all of the faces of the jurors. It was a very tense week with a near media blackout because of security incidents that kept happening. The jurors expressed to the court, who then expressed to the parties, that they were really afraid for their safety because of repeated incidents that were happening both in and outside of the courthouse. Before the deliberations, the court ordered that the identities of the jurors would be sealed because of apparent attempts to identify the identities of the jurors. So this was the context of the trial for the 7 days.
Now, defendant Elizabeth Richter and John Hacker, Eric, I want to ask you as the attorney in this matter. I mean, their private text messages became part of this trial, but in the end, the jury decided that, you know, what those contained, and they were spotting whether Andy was in the vicinity or not, obviously getting ready to, you know, proceed with whatever they were going to do to him. And somehow the jury discounted this?
It's truly remarkable the amount of evidence that the jury must have discounted to reach its not guilty verdict, or its verdict here that the defendants here weren't liable. And it really leads to the conclusion that jury intimidation was a factor here. It's a little unclear to us to what extent these jurors were intimidated, how this happened, what form it took, but the court did inform both parties of the day of deliberations that the jury was concerned that they were being threatened or potentially doxxed, or there was going to be some kind of repercussions if the verdict did not come out the right way here. And we all know what that means. The right way is finding that both of these defendants were not liable, despite the extensive evidence here that they were involved in this attack against Andy. The jury still found that they weren't liable. So we can really see what's going on here with the interruptions of the trial, with all of the concerns that the jurors expressed to the court, that this is not how our legal system is supposed to work. And there's some serious concerns about what happened in this particular proceeding.
Well, how can you have a jury that feels threatened actually deliver a verdict that makes sense? To me, that cuts against, you know, everything that we believe in as far as our justice system goes, civil or criminal. Now, Andy, Katie Davis Court, your colleague at the Post Millennial, she was covering the trial, and she tweeted a video yesterday after I left the courthouse, I found that my car was broken into by my hotel. The windows were busted out, items stolen, personal ID documents were also taken. Andy, there's a lot of crime in Portland. Do you feel this was retaliation?
I do. Throughout the whole trial, my colleague was harassed and intimidated both inside and outside of the courthouse. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what happened yesterday when the verdict was delivered. Reasons that are still unclear to me about really critical evidence regarding either the defendants destroying, hiding, or at least not preserving communications with one another, with other third parties during and around the time of the attacks, which the defendants admitted to during their depositions, but we couldn't present this to the jurors. And, I always knew this would be a really uphill battle. These attacks happened in Portland through the criminal justice system. I didn't receive justice, and I really hoped that it was through this that Portland jurors could
it's a message.
See.
Yeah, it's a message. It's a message, I think, they want to send to other people like you who want to expose what's happening in cities like Portland. Don't you dare. Andy, Eric, thank you both.